Hey everybody, Sir Onion Knight here. I'm making this video today to kind of explain why I'm switching over to Final Fantasy 14 from World of Warcraft and won't be returning full time for patch 9.1 in World of Warcraft. The reality is I am simply burned out. There is so much systems you have to keep up with in the game. Like, I think someone once said it best where the game wastes your time rather than making you want to waste your time. And that's probably not how it was said, but it just kind of it it really kind of put it into perspective for me why I was feeling this way. Um, let's look at it like this. When I log in for a day to play World of Warcraft, I have to set more than 2 hours aside just to get everything done for the week, and I have to do that per day. It feels like, at least. So, for example, the gearing in the recent expansions has been more of hope that it drops and hope that whoever got the drop you needed doesn't need it. So that way you can ask them, hey, can I have it? So that's one thing as far as gearing goes. Then secondly, they have Torghast. So Torghast is World of Warcraft's version of the Deep Dungeon, basically, where it's a never-ending, changing kind of dungeon that is different every time you go through, right? That's essentially what it is for anyone who doesn't know. I'm pretty sure most people watching this video probably already know. Um, if you want to have a legendary, which is by far required to be able to put out a good amount of DPS, HPS, or even just be a relatively confident tank. In order to get that legendary, you have to grind Torghast. And not only do you have to grind Torghast, but you have to purchase the base item, right? And not only do you have to purchase the base item, but you have to purchase the base item multiple times in different item levels, right? So you have to do Torghast in order to upgrade the item because you have to get Soul Ash. On top of that, you have to grind the gold so that we can purchase the item, the base item, so that we can upgrade your piece. And then you have to purchase missives for it, right? So already there's two currencies that you have to grind out just to simply upgrade your stuff. And for someone who's probably, just a casual player, they're probably never going to get max level of their legendary. For someone who's a little bit over average, they might, yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, they may get help from their guild members. They might try and purchase all of the materials to craft the catalyst item, I guess you could say, the base items. And that's always an option for you too, but like after the first few times of doing Torghast, it was okay. And it's even more fun when you got friends going with you. But when you're kind of doing it by yourself every week, it gets to be a little bit of a kind of a monotonous chore. And that's kind of where I'm at, I'm kind of burned out, on having to do all this other stuff. Oh, man. Oh, how could I have forgotten? Anima power. That's another grind you have to do every week. You have to have anima power to send your troops out on missions. You have to have anima power to upgrade your covenant gear. You have to have anima power to purchase any of your cosmetic stuff. Um, I don't even know what all things you're gonna have to grind anima power for, but like seriously, over the expansions since at least Legion, where you had a different kind of AP. You had artifact power, you know, and then next expansion, Azeroth power, Azerite power. This time it's anima power. They're just doing the same grinding shit with the same name, or the same acronym on just under a different name. It's literally the same thing, and everybody hated it every iteration of it. I don't, I, I don't get it why Blizzard just keeps looking at this system that nobody likes and says, "Well, let's iterate on it more." No, just fucking drop it. Just completely drop it. Nobody has fun with it. A lot of people, they're just dealing with this whole thing of it's in the game, I need it, I'm okay with getting it, and that's how they are. They don't see the fact that there's a possibility somewhere where we won't have to worry about something like that because Blizzard keeps shoehorning this fucking grind into every one of their expansions. 3 expansions in a row. 3 expansions in a row. People complain about it every time, and they still keep doing it. And I don't doubt that the next expansion is going to have an AP of another sort. They may change the acronym, but it'll be the same system. It's fucking ridiculous. I get so tired of it. There's something more fun about grinding a dungeon than grinding out in the open world doing world quests just to get anima power. And the cost of everything with the anima power is ridiculous. You have to even upgrading your structures at your covenants requires some form of like some anima power. It's like, do you want to upgrade your gear or do you want to build a structure at your covenant hall, I guess? Do you want to purchase this cool cosmetic piece or do you want to send your troops out on a mission? At yet again another mission table, which yet again for 3 expansions in a row, people have complained about having a mission table. This one was supposed to be like the auto battler, but it's the same thing. You just put another skin on it. It's literally all it is. It still works off of like, you put a troop on the table and you see if you're, and it'll increase your percentage of possibility of, being able to complete the mission. It still comes down to having a percentage on the table. All you're doing now is instead of automatically completing the mission when you go back to it, is you see little things going boom, 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 going back and forth, attacking different creatures and stuff. That's it. There's no difference. Literally 3 expansions in a row, you guys have done the same thing. The only difference was you guys are trying to make Lightning Strike twice. All right? Legion was a good expansion. Everyone had their gripes though. Everyone hated, artifact power. Everyone hated mission tables. But you brought those features back. You brought the features that people hated the most back from that expansion. You can't... Lightning doesn't strike twice if you move the fucking lightning rod. Legion was the lightning rod. And all you did was take all the little rocks that was holding that lightning rod up and carry it with you. That's all you did. But, I digress on that one. I'm moving on. Just like my friends moved on. A good bunch of my friends have moved on. I don't have hardly the group of buddies that I can jump in and do things with. It's like I'm basically out there looking for friends. Like, I've got some friends that play, don't get me wrong. But they've got their own groups of people that they do things with. And they have set aside time to do things for me. And I greatly appreciate them for doing that. It also helped me kind of be able to work with our raid group to, complete certain things. I was never like a top performer because I didn't put in the time for Mythic Plus dungeons because I didn't have a group to do it with. I don't jump into random Mythic Plus groups in the group finder because people there are fucking assholes. In order to gear to be competitive for rating these days, you have to do your Mythic Plus. And while I love that they're making Mythic Plus something that's desirable for you to do, the problem with Mythic Plus is everything is so boiled down to a meta. And Blizzard doesn't fix it to where that meta doesn't exist. They just let it perpetuate. Sure, they have decreased the amount of damage that tanks take from the different mythic pluses across the board, and kind of nerfed demon hunters in a way to basically try and bring them kind of in range of each other to kind of be competitive. But the reality is, if you're not a demon hunter tank, people don't want you. People don't want you because, they have such mobility and, they don't take very much damage because they're... So, like I said, there was a bug for a while because that apparently it was calculating damage weird and they were taking less damage than they should have. But when they nerfed that and everything, great, but they're still very mobile. They put out a lot of threat, and the meta is literally get your demon hunter tank, you're good to go. And then of course the DPS meta has been shifting so much, but if you're not in that top 10 DPS specs, you're not getting into a group. Nothing performs within a small enough margin that it's even worth it. And even then, if they do, our community is not really putting that information out there. People will still say, well, they're all performing relatively evenly, but then people are still like, nope, there's clearly an inch between the top of that bar and the top of that bar right there on that graph, so therefore that one is inferior. Our community is just fucking shit. I'll just put it bluntly, It's just, again, it's a bunch of sweaty neckbeards who just worried about my meta, and, you can't find groups. It's hard to find groups if you're not in that meta. I started out this expansion as a demon hunter, or not demon hunter, a death knight. My only contribution, anti-magic zone. AMZ is a great tool for raids, but when it comes to Mythic Plus, man, good luck getting in a group. And I didn't do terrible DPS in Mythic Pluses, but when I'm in a raid environment where everybody's got their Mythic Plus gear and I'm sitting there and basically Covenant armor and a legendary and then maybe one or two Mythic Plus pieces from lower keys, I'm not doing that great. And also, fuck you, Blizzard. Add more weapons. Literally, I sat there for probably about 3 months right before I got ahead of the curve, with the same item level 196 or whatever two-hander, and I couldn't get another weapon. You guys literally have so many different dungeons. You guys could drop some fucking weapons more, or maybe increase the item level for some of the weapons that drop in world quests. I don't know. Our main tank couldn't even get a weapon drop for the entire Castle Nathria tier. This was our main tank. They never even got one of the anima drops from the fucking bosses. It ended up having to be one of those times where we actually ran normal when we were progressed to heroic. We had to run normal to do Sun King and Denathrius just so we can get them some weapons. Because at one point, everybody finally had all their stuff. So they just gave him the anima bubble. The anima sphere, so he could turn it in and get a weapon. Back in Wrath, you could do your heroics and you would get tokens, and you could use those tokens to go toward a piece of gear you're choosing. So basically, you could save that up for an entire week, see what gear you got during that week, and then if there's something that you really want that you're missing, or maybe there's a better piece that you need, you could go pay for that piece of gear at that vendor, assuming that that vendor had the gear that you wanted. We don't have anything like that these days. You guys are just relying on simply Covenant armor and random drops, random drop chances. And then the Valor that we did get this expansion, oh well, you have to regrind for that piece of gear that you want in a Mythic Zero format, or, you know, just any Mythic dungeon. And then, and hope that you get it. And then you can do more Mythic Pluses so that we can upgrade that gear. You know how frustrating that is, realizing that this trinket that I got that would be a best in slot trinket for me, I had to go re-grind to get that, so that way I could upgrade it to where I needed it to be competitive. You know how fucking frustrating that is? So this whole thing comes full circle back to the fucking grind. I feel like this whole video is just nothing but rambling right now at this point. I've literally got a notepad here with things in order of what I wanted to talk to you guys about. And I keep going back to previous points just because everything is just so frustrating about the game. And this is coming from someone who grew up playing this game, basically. Like, from the moment that I was, I think, 19. You know, what I forget how old I was in 2004, 2005. I didn't start the game right when the game came out, but I started it in vanilla. I grew up with this. I remember how this stuff works, and I'm just so frustrated. I love the game so much, but I just can't bring myself to play it anymore. It's like, I don't know. It's just very difficult. Uh, and that kind of leads me to another thing. Kind of back on that issue of community toxicity. People in World of Warcraft are so emboldened to be toxic by other players that are toxic. And part of that is because, A, they are still relatively anonymous, because what are the chances you're going to see the person that's standing in front of you ever again? Maybe in trade chat you might see the same people over and over again. There's this one person named Bitcoin Moon on my in my trade that's constantly there. It's almost like they never go out and play the game. They're just constantly in trade. You know, there's people like that I see on a regular basis, right? But I don't actually ever see them. I just see them in chat, right? But if you're in a group or out in the open world, chances of seeing the same person ever again is so minimal. And that kind of leads to this whole thing where you can be a dick to someone and, well, fuck it, whatever. Not like I'm ever going to see them again. I have heard myself say that before. Like, if there's a piece of loot that I really want and someone else wants it, and we both roll need on it, and they're raging at me for it for whatever reason, I guess, because I guess somehow they feel like they need it more than I do. I've literally just said to myself, well, fuck it, whatever. I'm never gonna see that person again anyway. It's eh, like I can see and feel that shift over the years. Back before we had cross realm, like grouping and all that stuff, or just cross realm servers in general, the servers were their community, and everybody knew each other. And if you didn't know someone, it's as simple as asking in trade, hey, does anybody else have experience with this idiot? This guy was kind of a jerk, or this guy was a ninja. There'd even be freaking blacklists for players who were jerks. Like, there was more incentive to not be a jerk in the game back before all this than there is now. And the reality is, Blizzard's not going to do anything. Blizzard never has. They might they might have done a few things in the past, like maybe force name changes or chat bans temporarily for some folks, and they still do that occasionally for really bad offenses. But I mean, literally everybody can just say what they want, do what they want, be as toxic as they want, and Blizzard has no 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 words for it. They have no actions. And you know, I on one hand I like that because you don't want to censor people too much. That can lead to so many bad things, but there's also a lot of times where people do need to be kind of put in time out a little bit, you know? And the reality is, right now, everybody has that feeling of anonymity that they can actually say or do what they want, and they know Blizzard is never going to step in and say or do anything about it. For example, how long does it take them to react to bots in the open world? At this point, anyone could bot, and they probably won't ever get found out if they don't do it frequently enough. And I don't want to promote that in any way, but it's a reality, unfortunately. Take with that what you will. Um, I've got a pretty thick skin when it comes to a lot of things, but I'm at the end of the day I'm playing this game to have fun. And if someone is walking around with a stick up their ass and just being a complete asshole because maybe someone isn't familiar with a particular mechanic on a boss fight because they haven't done it in a while, or, if they make one mistake just because they may have accidentally fat fingered a button or something like that, that's not exactly how I choose to spend my time. I choose to spend my time wisely, and because we all only have a finite amount of free time available to us. And I'm not going to subject myself to some asshole who refuses to at least show some small amount of restraint when it comes to speaking to someone poorly. And that's just how it is. So, yeah, I mean, with all that, I'm not going to really return to 9.1. I might jump in just to kind of witness some of the changes because I still have about 16 days left on my subscription. And, I am curious, but I'm not like, I don't think I'm ever going to take it seriously again. I don't think I can. I don't have the time or energy to kind of subject myself to more and more growing frustrations with the direction of the game. The reality is, Final Fantasy XIV has taken my time. I'm having much more fun. I have found a free company that I love greatly. Shout out to Misunderstood over on Gilgamesh, where we're a really good free company for folks to join if they want a chill environment, as long as they are willing to be chill people. um, I mean, I've had so much more pleasant of an experience in Final Fantasy XIV than I have in World of Warcraft in years, and I feel like that is a better use of my time than continue to slam my head up against a wall in World of Warcraft. I almost feel like the next expansion that comes out, I probably won't even buy it at this point, unless they make drastic changes to make you want to waste your time. Um, but yeah, there's that. So anyway, thanks everybody for kind of watching me ramble for about close to 30 minutes here. Um, if you are interested in playing Final Fantasy XIV, there is a free trial up to level 70, I believe, or is it 60? I don't know. But it includes the Heaven's Word expansion, and it's free. And so if you want to play it, check it out. there are some limitations on it, but you know, I'm not a salesperson. I'm just giving it to you as I see it. So expect some Final Fantasy 14 content on here eventually. I know I've been streaming Final Fantasy 14 a lot lately. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts, and I will see you guys next time.